the 5 Normandy beaches, the Allies suffered more casualties on Omaha than the other 4 combined. Omaha Beach was defended by the 352nd Infantry Division. Half of the division's soldiers came from the remnants of 3 divisions which had been decimated on the Eastern Front. These were then brought up to full strength with raw recruits from the Hanover region. Unlike the 709th Static Division covering Utah Beach to its left and the 716th Static Division covering beaches to its right, the 352nd was considered a mobile division, instead of a fortress division like the other 2. Because most of the officers and NCOs were experienced and hardened soldiers from the Eastern Front, the unit was well led and had been fully equipped. Omaha was a crescent-shaped beach bounded by large rocky cliffs at either end. Behind the beach rose a steep escarpment of up to 50 meters in height which dominated the whole beach down below. This escarpment were cut into by small wooded valleys known as draws at 5 points along the coast. German defenses were concentrated mostly around these strategically important draws, 15 strong points, consisting of concrete bunkers and pillar boxes which were numbered from 60 to 74 were located primarily around the entrances to the draws. These had connecting fields of fires which meant that no area of the beach was left uncovered and flanking fire could be brought to bear anywhere along the beach. Just after 5 in the morning, sighting reports came in of Allied ships off the Normandy coast. An hour later, 448 heavy strategic bombers of the United States Army Air Force began an aerial bombardment of the beach defenses, but because of low cloud cover, the target point was moved inland. This assured the safety of landing Allied troops from friendly fire, but as a result, these bombs fell miles inland and did little damage to the beach defenses. A 40-minute naval bombardment had a bit more success, with many strong points reporting casualties. WN-60 in particular suffered very heavy damage. The first wave of assaulting troops landed at around 6 o'clock. Because most of the defending troops had been stationed near the beaches when the alarm was raised, they were ready and waiting for them as they hit the beach. Casualties were heaviest among the troops landing at either end of Omaha. As infantry disembarked from the landing craft, they often found themselves having to brave the full weight of interlocking fields of heavy machine gun fire, artillery, and small arms fire. Some units were cut to pieces within a few minutes of hitting the beach, the survivors reduced to seeking cover at the water's edge behind obstacles. In the central beach zone where the naval bombardment had set grass fires burning, the smoke obscured the landing troops, covering their advance up the beach, thus preventing effective fire from being laid down by the defenders. Many units in the central beach zone gained the relative safety of the seawall with few casualties, and were in much better shape than troops landing at either end of Omaha, where casualties had been severe. 2 artillery regiments had been assigned to support the defending troops on Omaha Beach and had pre-sighted every inch of the landing area. They rained down shells upon the landing Allied forces until they run out of ammunition. Due to the complete ineffectiveness of the Luftwaffe, ground troops had to rely on anti-aircraft artillery for protection. Because the Allies had complete air superiority, American and British fighter bombers would attack any daytime road movement, making it nearly impossible to move supplies in the daylight, which meant frontline units soon started to run out of ammunition. The draws through the escarpment were natural exits off the beach and were protected by fortified strong points. Because the defenses were weaker away from the draws, most of the morning's advances were made there. After several assault waves had landed and through sheer weight of numbers, By 8 o'clock some 600 American troops had made it to the top of the bluffs in the central beach zone and were starting to attack the German strong points from the rear. By 11 o'clock American troops had forced their way into the strategically important town of Colville. The 916th Regiment, which was defending the area, sent a request for reinforcements up the chain of command to Divisional HQ. Only a single battalion of infantry and 14 Marder self-propelled anti-tank guns could be spared for the counter-attack to retake Colville. The Fortress Division defending Gold Beach to the right had completely disintegrated under the force of the Allied assault. British forces were surging inland virtually unopposed. This meant that the reserve force of the 352nd Division, consisting of the 915th Regiment and 10 Stugs assault guns, was diverted to launch an attack to stop Bayeux from falling into British hands. Organized as Camp Group Meyer, they successfully stopped the British 50th Infantry Division from taking Bayeux on D-Day. By 1 o'clock German reinforcements were ready at their assembly area east of Colville. The attackers spread out into their assault formations for the advance. Together with the Martyrs, which were used as close support weapon for the infantry. With the help of mortars and artillery plus direct fire support from the Martyrs, by late afternoon German forces had fought their way into the outskirts. By early evening, despite stiff opposition, Colville was back under German control, although by this time only 2 of the 5 draws were still in German hands. Fighting continued around Colville with the Germans holding on through the night, but by morning they were under threat of envelopment as American forces had surged round both flanks during the night. The last reserve of the 352nd Division, the 352nd Assault Engineer Battalion, was attached to the 916th Regiment in the evening. It was deployed to launch a counter-attack against Saint Laurent. Although they failed to take Saint Laurent, they stopped further advances in the area. The Americans only took a fraction of the area they had planned to take on D-Day. Of all the 5 beaches, Omaha was by far the best result for the German defenders in terms of casualties inflicted and ground given up.